Good morning, hello, and welcome to day 5 of the Small Business Saturday Tour. I cannot believe we are already a week through. It's gone so fast, and thank you all for coming along with us on this journey. So today we've got a webinar with Kat Williams, who is here with us today. Hi, Kat.
Hello.
And she is going to talk to us all about how you can boost your confidence and all sorts of mindset hacks to help with your business. So I'm really looking forward to today's session, and I think it's a perfect session to have on a Friday before the weekend. So looking forward to that. Do get involved in the chat, say hello, let us know where you're from in the country and your business name. We always love to hear. I know that Kat has got quite an interactive session today, so do make sure you're getting involved as much as you can. And if you do have some questions, please pop them in the Q&A because we will be coming back to those at the end. This webinar is being recorded, so you can catch up on anything that you've missed. Hi, I see people saying hi in the chat already. Perfect. Good morning. Happy Friday. So you will be sending out a replay later in the week. So if you miss anything, don't worry, you can catch up on everything later. Thank you to BT for making this session possible and supporting the tour once again. I do think that is enough from me. So I will hand over to you, Kat, and I will see you at the end for some questions.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will introduce myself a little bit more fully in a second, but I would like to go straight to the chat straight away. Thank you for putting in your businesses where you are. We're all about confidence today, and confidence matters to me because I've overcome many confidence blocks on my business journey. So I'd like to ask you, first of all, if you don't mind just putting in the chat, how confident are you feeling at the moment, like in your business, out of 10? Like, you don't have to join in, but if you're happy and comfortable to put in the chat where you're feeling out of 10. And then the second thing I'd like you to put in, lots going in, thank you, is there something, like if I could, what do you want from this call today, basically, that by the end of this call, I'd like to leave you with being obviously more confident, but specifically, is there something in your mind right now that you are talking yourself out of doing that you want to do? So could you put in the chat, like, I'm not showing up on social media enough, or I'm not charging enough because I don't feel I've got the confidence to do that, or I'm not going to networking because I don't feel I've got the confidence to do that. Is there something you want to do more of that you're talking yourself out of doing? And then that can be a bit of a focus today, if that's a step to break through that invisible cage, as I call it, which you'll hear a lot more about today. Pick me, what does that say? Need sales to increase, so not targeting ideal clients, want to feel confident with prices. Okay, right. So a quick story about why this matters to me. So I am the founder of Building Your Confidence Limited. I went limited this year. I've been self-employed for about 10 years before that. And I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and a rapid transformational therapist and speaker. But one of the main reasons confidence matters to me is it is the most important factor in a successful life. Basically, there's a lot of research into this. How we feel about ourselves, the energy we bring, and how we kind of, put ourselves out there is obviously a massive factor in our own success. But let me take you back to me being 16 years old. I was sitting at the back of my form class in school, and my form tutor, Mrs. Emmett, said, would anyone like to apply to be head girl or head boy? So I went up at the end of form class and I said, oh, Mrs. Emmett, I'd like to apply. And she said, oh, Catherine Payne back then, oh, I don't think you've really got the confidence. I don't think you really got what it takes, Catherine, because you're going to have to speak in assemblies as head girl, and you'd have to speak in church at Christmas. And, I don't think you've got what it takes. They're looking for somebody with more confidence. So, of course, I didn't apply. That's an example of somebody in a position of authority, who've known me for 5 years, literally said to me, you haven't got what it takes. So I've been on a journey since then through various guises. I've been a physiotherapist, relationship therapist, and really what I help people do is to find out the root cause. What I'm going to draw right here, actually. This is you now. And I help people to find out What has been put there that is getting in the way of your confidence? Thank you, Alison. That's my school life also. Yes, exactly. Now, I want to ask you this question before I explain this. Do you believe, just yes or no, are we born confident? What do you think? So put a yes if you think, or a no if you don't. Are we born confident? Interesting thoughts. Mainly yeses, some nos. Right, well, I hear a lot. Some people will say no as speakers on confidence, and they say we learn it. Now, I believe, yes, we do. However, I also believe we are born confident. And I believe that because, well, I know that because no baby arrives onto the planet and looks out at the world and is thinking, I'm not good enough. I haven't got what it takes. I don't belong here. Other people are better than me. It is not there at the beginning. Our natural subconscious programming is, I'm enough, I belong. We're literally the survivors of thousands, 8,000, I believe, generations. We are the survivors of the survivors of the survivors of the survivors. It is a 1,000,000,000,000 chance that we even exist. There's absolutely no way we don't have what it takes. So we are born with a very bright, shining light of confidence. And one of the things I do want you to start to think about, I'm sharing a lot today, by the way, so I know it's going to be recorded. And do try and stay to the end. I'm sharing free gifts and things. But one of the things just to think about throughout is it's really helpful for you to tap into that original confidence, because if you think back, there have been times that are like the opposite of that Mrs. Emmett experience, right? And one of them for me, I felt really confident on the stage as a child before Mrs. Emmett said, you don't have what it takes, Catherine. So if me today could go back and stand next to my 15-year-old self, I would say, by the way, I'm now a professional speaker. You do have what it takes. Don't let in what she's saying. That comes from her own fear and probably insecurities of trying to protect you from whatever. It's not true. You have got what it takes. And if I could bring that 15-year-old me now, here now, she would obviously be like, wow. So this is representing the past. And we are born with just two innate fears, right? We make our decisions based on kind of protecting ourselves or going for what we care about. So as business owners, we are trying to go for things, but we've got those fears, haven't we? Kind of, oh, what if? But we're actually born with just two. Anyone in the chat know the two fears, innate fears we're born with? I'm going to tell you, so just because of time and things. But if you do already know, the first one we're born is only a fear of falling. We have an innate startle reflex as a baby. In my past life, physiotherapist, I would have been doing tests on babies, check. And the second fear we're born with is a fear of loud noises. That's it. That's actually it. The only innate reflexes, protective reflexes we have are those two. Everything else we learn. So no, not spiders. Heights to a degree because of that falling reflex, but actually they are the only two innate. We've learned everything else. So if this was representing us to the future, what happens is when we pick up beliefs, so lying at the root cause of what everybody comes to me with is three core beliefs that we pick up in the past, often under the age of 7. That's really when we're just wired, we're just absorbing everything. Until the age of 7, we're just on receive. It's just receive, receive, receive. Am I safe, right? Am I kind of connected? Am I celebrated? Are people proud of me? Do I belong? We've got all of these questions going on. The vast majority of us, I won't sort of ask you about, your childhood here, but I'm more than happy to say to you, I arrived on the planet kind of going, do I feel accepted as I am? Do I feel that I'm enough as I am? Not really. A lot of our parents are dealing with their own stuff, and we may absorb, especially if we're very empathetic, very relational. You're like, am I safe here? Am I accepted? Is love unconditional or conditional? So what we pick up is the number one issue is feeling not good enough. but it does come from somewhere. That's not what you're born with. So I'm asking you to think, it's quite deep stuff today, I know, but when was the first time that you started to feel not good enough? Because that's when some of these protective instincts we're going to come from. The second root cause issue that I help people to overcome is feeling different, or kind of, you know, like we don't belong. I'm not the greatest at the writing here, but, and I wanted to ask you all actually another thing in the chat. As business owners, the biggest issue I feel we've got going on here, especially if we're newly started, so I don't know how new a lot of you are, but can you give me a yes if there is someone in your close circle who doesn't understand why you're running a business? That is just kind of like, what are you doing that for? If it's difficult and you don't have the confidence to do it, just don't do it. Why don't you just get a real job? You know, like a normal job, okay? My mum, thank you, Melissa. Biggest one for me, my mum. And it's actually because of her own insecurity and her own feeling of, have I done enough with my life? Again, I won't go into all the personal stuff, but I'm just honest here. I think that's what's churning away from her. I'm going to come to limiting beliefs in a minute, but her own insecurities is translating onto me. And she's just kind of like, I published my first book about 12 years ago. And when the book came out, she said, well, I haven't published a book. That's what my mum said. The only response to me publishing a book, which I did in secret, by the way, because I didn't want all that anyway, she said, you know, why have you published a book? I haven't published a book. Bizarre, right? A lot of people, you're with me. Okay, right, exactly. Now, you wouldn't be on this call and I wouldn't give such a damn about what I'm doing if you weren't, you know, meant to run a business. You're creative, you've got initiative. I'm coming to strength psychology as well today. We're going to bring it all in. But, you know, this is your purpose. This is your future, right? What you care about is what you're aiming for. So I said there were 3 issues. This is what can hold us back, and then I'm going to describe what this is in a minute. The third one is feeling that things are not available to me. So these are the beliefs that go in subconsciously, like I say, usually under 7, under 10 years old, maybe a bit later, but they get built on top of. Once they go in, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm different, I don't fit in. A fear of public speaking, by the way, number 1 fear that obviously I've overcome, and I know will be there for you all, is actually a fear of rejection. It's a fear of humiliation. Because we're wired to feel safe and enough if we fit in, you know, why do you think teenagers all sort of dress the same? You know, we're wired to just go, if I stand out, I might die. You know, we're tribal, okay? So that's what a fear of public speaking is really about. And today we are about shattering these invisible cages, is how I put it. And this third one, we will have picked up this belief, other people can run a successful business, but I can't. Right? I'll be honest with you, I'm still breaking through these barriers. I'm going to give you an exercise to do that I did myself a couple of nights ago, writing down all of these negative thoughts. And one of mine would be like, my second book's going to come out next year. Of course, I've got a limiting belief that goes, well, I won't find a traditional publisher. I self-published the last one, but I won't find a traditional publisher, and I won't get thousands of followers on Instagram, and I won't be a bestseller. Like, none of that's true. But it comes from this kind of, it's not available to me. Other people can do it, but I bet I can't, right? Are you with me? Sometimes you think it's jealousy. It definitely is, Chantal. I'm going to come to that as well. Thank you for the comments in the chat. I can't see them all, but Emma will have a look for questions as well, I think, as we go. Would your parent leaving you at 10 be one of those things then, Kat? Yes, so as potentially, I think who's put that, Ashley. As a clinical hypnotherapist, everything I do is under hypnosis. So I take people back. It's not that you're reliving anything, but you're going back to the beliefs. So these are all about beliefs. When beliefs go in, it's not what happens to us. It's the belief. It's what happens inside us, basically, as a result of what happens to us, that then becomes self-fulfilling, which I'm now going to come to. So yeah, if that belief goes in, maybe they left because of something that I did or didn't do. That's that belief goes in, and that must mean that I'm not enough or too much or different or wrong in some way, and then that can play out. Okay, is this making sense? So this here is what I call the invisible cage. As I've just said, no one is born with anything other than 10 out of 10 natural confidence. However, though, when you start to feel these things, when you're too little to understand them, they just go in as a belief. The only way I can make sense of this, I'm a child. Why, if they're behaving like that, it must be because I've done or not done something. Otherwise, I can't make sense of it otherwise. It must be that I'm different because I'm being bullied or left out. That's how we interpret it. So then our mind says, basically, this is the cage that kind of says subconsciously, I never want Kat to feel like that ever again. So I'm going to put her in a protective cage of anxiety, maybe even depression. That would be a kind of a lower expectations, always carry this feeling. So it always kind of reminds her, maybe, you're not going to get that. Anxiety is that kind of constant, obviously I'm going to protect like a smoke alarm. What if it rings that bell all the time? What if something happens that makes you feel like a failure or rejected again? Is it worth it? Yeah. Here as well, I'm a recovered people pleaser. Again, I won't go into that today, but that's a protective instinct. We're not born, that belief is like, if I try to please everyone, I'll be safe because I won't be rejected, right? Another big thing I want to say to you today is other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, none of our business. We're going to upset people. So what? So if you're going to upset people, which we are, because there's 8 billion people on the planet, they're not all going to agree with us. You might as well upset them doing something that you care about, okay? Because somebody's going to be upset, or somebody's not going to agree, or somebody's going to think whatever they think. It is none of your business. What is your business? Obviously what we're going to keep coming to. So I help people to discover that root cause and shatter through the invisible cage. If anyone here is suffering with any kind of subconscious issues, like there's sort of self-sabotage, all sorts of things, what I want you to know is never call them my anxiety or my people pleasing or my procrastination. Call it because it's a protector part that has come in from somewhere. It isn't you. It came from somewhere. And if it comes from somewhere, we can take it out. And that's what I help people do. You can look at my website. I'm not selling all of that today, but in my one-to-one sessions, that's what we do. Discover the root cause. Okay, how are we doing with that? I think that's all I want to share with you on that. Another one I haven't mentioned will be overthinking, for example, but sorry, the final thing to say is this invisible cage, just to clarify, it believes it's keeping us safe from these core beliefs, right? But as you can see, it's actually keeping us stuck. So again, you want to be talking to these protector parts and starting to say, if I'm the anxiety in Kat, or if I'm the fear of public speaking, how do I believe I'm protecting Kat? Like, I'm literally having a conversation with it. You can feel where it is in your body. And I started to kind of go, I'm this part of Kat that's saying, what if you're laughed at? What if people reject you, right? But then we want to say to it, you're actually not keeping me safe. You're keeping me stuck. I'm going to do things scared. Another really favorite phrase of mine. Do whatever you're doing, do it scared. Because it matters enough. We make our decisions in just 2 ways, love or fear. And love is stronger. I know love is stronger because if somebody you cared about was in a burning building, you would go across a plank or climb up a flipping wall that you could never normally do, and you would get them out. So love is stronger than fear. And so you're speaking to these protector parts and saying, with respect, I am not a child anymore, and you are getting in my way from achieving what I care about in my business. Right? Are we liking this? Is everyone all right? Okay. I'm going to share with you now how I want you to start to do this. All right, number 1, activity, and why I want you to do it. So, another quick story for you. I'm taking you back now about 12 years. Thank you, Kerry. Chantal, thank you. I'm going to grab, where are we? I'm taking about now, yeah, about 12, 13 years. And I'm a military wife. We're still a military family. So at this point, we've been posted several times already, but at this point, I'm living way up in Inverness. I don't know if anyone said that they're up in the north of Scotland. Beautiful place. Go and visit. Gorgeous. But I was standing at this time in a kitchen, an army house. We just moved. Everything's still in boxes. My husband's gone out to Afghanistan for 7 months on the front line. My 2 children were 1 and 4. And I had already been a relationship therapist for quite a while by then. I'd been a physiotherapist before that, but I was not calm. I was not confident. And I was thinking, I don't know what to do, right? Those moments that we probably have in our businesses and our life, and we just go, I don't know if I can do this. Not born with that thought, by the way, as we know. So I started to think, you know, what's the difference? I was looking out, we're in an army patch, the walls are all magnolia in all the houses if anyone's been military. And I was asking myself, on the one hand, there's families here all around me, everybody's in the same boat, but some of them are really self-medicating their way through this. They're just zoning out for kind of 7 months and like literally drinking or prescription drugs and lots of things, real kind of issues there. And then on the other hand, there seemed to be military spouses that were somehow being like phoenix through the ashes. Like, how are they rising through all this stuff? And again, in our businesses, you'll look at someone going like, you're in a similar space to me, but what are you doing? Well, I'm going to tell you what they were doing. But what I started to think was, well, I'm going to find out. And I had on the wall behind me in this very plain army quarter, a poster back then, bright red, white writing. It said, keep calm and carry on. And I thought, well, how do you do that? But I went and found out, and I decided that I was going to write a book about finding it out. And then, of course, in came the gremlins of like, who do I think I am to write a book? It's not going to be good enough. I haven't got the time. I've got 2 small children. My husband's away. I've got too much going on. So I didn't write the book until I watched a clip of Eddie Izzard, the actor comedian, right? This is years ago. He was doing 55 marathons in 56 days or something for Sport Relief, and everyone remembers that. And he was saying that he knew that his mind would get in his way quicker than his body. That even though he was a middle-aged, out of fitness, not particularly fit, not an athlete man, he said, I've got to believe I'm going to do this. So I want to tell you about how the mind works. And these, again, 3 things I want to let you know about that I learned from him and also from my clinical hypnotherapy training. The first job of the mind, as I've already kind of alluded to, is to keep you away from pain. So what I realized for myself with the book was I was saying, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be too hard. And as Eddie Izzard was saying, like, it's going to be really hard to run all of these marathons. So we flicked that to say, this is important. This matters to me. This is the most important thing I ever do. And again, in your business right now, start to be thinking, what have you been saying in your own mind? What have been your thoughts that are saying, it's so hard to run a business. This is too difficult. We need to flick that to say, this matters and it's easy. Otherwise, your mind will say, what are you doing it for? And so our thoughts create our feelings. And that's what can happen. If you start to say, this is painful, it's going to create a feeling of anxiety. And then it's going to create a behavior of procrastination. Probably if you've said this is difficult, I'm probably going to fail and I can't do it. Now you're going to feel anxious about saying yes, maybe to a public speaking gig like this. Then you're going to procrastinate and go, well, if I'm going to fail anyway, I won't prepare, because then if I don't get ready, I'm going to have to drop out and then I can't do it. So I've kept myself safe, right? But obviously what happens is, this is the most important part, then that behavior reinforces the original thought. I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I didn't have what it takes, and I knew it wasn't available to me. So thoughts are self-fulfilling. Okay. So I've shared with you that first thing about the mind must move you away from pain. The second thing to know about your thoughts is they only actually work, or the mind, subconscious mind, which is 95% of our thoughts, by the way. We have 70,000 thoughts a day, 95% of them subconscious. All of them got that, keep me safe. However, they only work in, like, the mind only works in pictures and words. So another thing that Eddie Izzard mentioned that day was you need to visualize. The most powerful thing, as you may already know from sports people, they spend as much time visualizing. I'm going to come to that, Carrie, in a minute. Okay. As much time visualizing their success and their path ahead as they do actually using the skills. You know, if you're running the 100 meters or whatever, he'll be visualizing, or he or she, you know, that success and that race over and over and over again, as much as they will actually be physically training, because your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and actual reality. And I can prove that by saying, if anyone's hungry, or even if you're not, if magically in front of us appeared your favorite meal, maybe a lovely, or, you know, coming up to lunchtime, a lovely kind of brunch, English breakfast, or just a gorgeous lunch, our mouths are going to start watering. If I keep talking about this, your stomach's going to start digesting. There's nothing there. That's how powerful your imagination is. Whatever you picture and whatever you say, your body instantly responds as if it's real. So these thoughts, right or wrong, good or bad, helpful or unhelpful, they just go straight in. So that's the second rule, is pictures and words is the only way that our mind makes sense of the world. And the number 3 one is, what is unfamiliar, it labels as difficult. Now, if I come back to my belief that babies are born with 10 out of 10 natural confidence, which I definitely believe they are, we have made a lot of unfamiliar things easy. And so we are wired to sort of say, it may be unfamiliar, but I can do it. Because at one point, crawling was unfamiliar, walking was unfamiliar, speaking, feeding yourself. Thank you, Chantal. It was all unfamiliar. But you had that belief, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to learn how to do that. Then as adults, because of these root cause, because people say, you know, oh, you haven't got what it takes, or because of their stuff that's going on, we absorb, maybe I haven't got what it takes. We start to label what is unfamiliar as difficult. It isn't difficult, it's just unfamiliar. And you can start to say again, I can make this familiar. So there's a lot of challenges, right? Running our own businesses. There's a lot of stuff that we could easily be thinking, I could ask you now, and I know you could go on all day, all the things that we have to, I'm never going to be able to learn everything. Oh my goodness me. How about we change that to, it's just unfamiliar. And I've got all the time I need. I used to have this one, I don't have time. I just don't have time. Flick it around. I have all the time I need. I can make anything familiar. I've got exactly what it takes. How do you feel now if you start to say that? This is exciting. I'm so proud of myself running my own business. I don't give a damn what other people think, because I'm creative and I'm passionate and it matters to me. How do you behave? I'm excited to get up every day. I'm going to show what I can do. I want to learn these new things. Everything. I'm like a child starting again. I'm going to learn to crawl and walk and speak and feed myself in a business sense, and I can do it. And then you're going to reconfirm, oh my goodness me, look at what I just did. If you wrote down your successes over the last few weeks and going back years, you know, yes, we don't spend enough time to do that, but we should, because there'd be hundreds of them. And your past self, by the way, if they were coming to look at you now, they will be very proud of everything you've overcome. You stand at the top of all of that, right? And that means you are more than enough. Another favourite phrase of mine, your record for getting through difficult times is 100%, right? So if you've got this thought, I can do hard things, look at how far I've come. Everything has happened for me, not to me. I am here now for a reason, and I'm going to take this forwards. How are we doing? I'm hearing lots of interesting chats. Amazing. Yes. Oh, thank you for all these lovely comments. I'm going to try and have a look at the end. I know there's people with specific issues and I haven't heard, Kerry, of Ehlers-Danlos. Actually, I'm going to need to look that one up. It is, if I had more time, I mean, we could go into, there's amazing research into the untapped potential in our brains that we haven't even started to explore, you know, and as a physiotherapist, the reason I'm not doing physiotherapy anymore is because I realized very quickly that I was more fascinated by what happened from the neck up than I was from the neck down. The role that our mind plays, the most complex structure in the universe is the human mind. So even if there are, you know, specific intricacies, differences in there, there's still a huge amount of untapped potential. So I guess that's what I want to say to people is whatever, there may be neurodiversity, there may even be brain injury. My favorite speciality as a physiotherapist was brain injury, because the way the brain can redevelop and grow neural pathways are made, new neural pathways all the time. It takes 21 days. So that's why, as a clinical hypnotherapist, people change instantly in the session when they understand the root cause, but then I'll make them a self-hypnosis recording that they listen to for 21 days to build new neural pathways that basically do this. For these reasons, you know, if you put in, I want this matters to me for your business right now, if you picture where you want to get to, if you can see it, you can achieve it, because you're already going, that is already familiar. If I can even start to picture it and where I want to get to, and if I start to say, I can make whatever I need to make familiar, I will make it familiar. You're now watching someone that has made public speaking familiar, whereas only a few years ago, I was like, I would say no to this opportunity, and you know, you can make anything familiar. Sometimes you feel like you're being arrogant or proud when you celebrate your achievements. Chantal, thank you for that question. Right, here we go on this one. The reason confidence matters, right? The reason I do what I do is not to stand here and say, I would never want you to come off of this call and think anything like, Kat was great, I can never do that. No, absolute rubbish. The reason I'm trying to shine as brightly as I can is so that I shine out and help you to see. The brighter I shine, the more I help you to see that you can do this too, right? That's why I care about this. That's why I like fill myself up, shine out and say, it's so that you can see where I've come from and you can come as well. That we have to be a light to shine out to other people so they come with us. And then they're attracted to your business as well. Whatever you do, if you have absolute belief in what you do, it's so magnetic and attractive that people go, oh, I trust them. They know what they're doing. They're passionate. Everything in this planet is energy. We're all on a frequency. So what frequency do you want to put yourself on so that people go, I feel good in their company. I like that. The energy is good. I'm going to choose them. Because there may be people in your line of businesses that do very similar things to you. They won't do it on the same frequency that you do it and in your way. And we're going to come to that more now with strength psychology. Does that make sense, Chantal? So absolutely not arrogant. That's just, again, that belief that goes in. Somebody has said to you at some point, that's sort of called our kind of shadow side. Like whatever we're afraid of is like, if I said to you, Chantal, you're so arrogant, you're so proud, that would feel like, doesn't make it true. You can claim that and go, yeah, sometimes it's fine to be arrogant and proud because that's not all I am. That's just a tiny part of me. We're everything, right? So it doesn't matter if somebody sees us arrogant, you know, it doesn't mean that we are. That's just maybe how they see it. Thanks, Chantal. Right, where should we? So an exercise related to this. I want you to do this afterwards. You know, we don't have the time now. How are we doing for time? We're doing okay. But I've got strength psychology coming next, which is fab. So here's your homework with regard to this. Number one would be to, maybe just write them here in case anyone is sort of, so would be to write down a sort of A4 sheet of paper or as many papers, just in a notebook, whatever you've got. On this side, how are we going to do this actually? No, I'm going to, yes, no, I'm going to do it this way. A4 notebook, or whatever it is, and just write down all of, in pencil is important, all of your most negative beliefs, everything and anything you can think of. It can take you days. So things like, I have to work hard to make money. Not necessarily true. There's a lot, you know, money blocks, everything like this. What if people laugh at me and judge me? What if I fail? What if I upset people? I haven't got what it takes. I'm not good enough. I'm a fraud. I'm an imposter. Like, just horrible, horrible thoughts in pencil. Okay. And get them all down there, because it's important to see the lies you've been telling yourself. None of these are true, but they will become true if you don't call them out. All right. So do that in pencil. Then the next thing in pen would be to write just underneath what I call a supportive truth. Now, obviously, if we were doing this one-to-one, I can help you with this, because it's not the opposite. Like, you can't just say, you can say I am enough, that's important, but it needs to be more realistic. So it's kind of like, what would it be, an example? Can someone give me in the chat a current really challenging negative thought, so I can give you a specific example here? Would someone have the courage to put in the chat an example of some of these, and then I will give you the alternative? I'm not good enough. What's the thought, Chantal? So what would be the thought behind imposter? Someone's going to find me out. Why would people choose me over someone else? Right, I'm not clever enough. I'll burn out again. Okay. I'm annoying if I keep asking the word. Okay. I'm going to go with, I've got a few there. Let me see. Carrie Ann, to start, why would people choose me over someone else? I hope I've already alluded to that a little bit. Why would somebody choose me over anyone else? First of all, that biggest issue we have is that we all feel different, and that makes us all the same. And so difference is a strength. And why would people choose me? Like I've already said, you're on your own unique frequency. The way that you do what you do will be very, very attractive to the right people. So the more genuine you can be, I think, where's it gone? Carry on. The more the right people for you will choose you, precisely because they feel safer and more comfortable with you because of who you are. And because you're uniquely you, that will resonate with them. I'm getting much more people now saying, Kat, I just like your energy. I just felt I needed to come to you. I am not the only rapid transformational therapist and a hypnotherapist. And, you know, I could easily be saying to myself, it's a crowded market. Oh my God, I'm never going to get clients. Like, who am I? I'm not special. I don't, but no, it's not true. As you're already seeing, I've done a lot of work, obviously, on my own stuff, but how I dress, just the energy I put out there, I'm equal and different, and that's a good thing. The first one that went on, I'm not good enough, that is a relatively straightforward one. It is, I am enough. So I hope I've sort of shattered through that and say, I was born onto the planet. One of the ways that I want you to be thinking about this as well is, with my clients, the first thing I do is take us back to a time when you felt really energized and did feel enough, did feel like creative. Or so again, Catherine, if you're saying my designs have no imagination, that's not true. Like, children, we are born geniuses with natural imagination, curiosity. We're all of that. So that has been damaged along the way, and it's becoming a belief. If you had put in here, Catherine, my designs have no imagination, how does that make you feel? Dull. You know, probably just like, what's the point? Not creative, not in a good place. How will that make you behave? Well, you're not going to be at your best designing. And then it's reconfirming, yeah, I don't have any imagination. It's gone somewhere. It's left me. I used to have it and I don't have it anymore. Not true. So it's starting to go back to, like, I am naturally creative and imaginative. If I tell you another quick story, this is a true study back in the 60s. They went into a primary school of children take yourself back now to your primary school ages and in school, secondary school, whatever. They went in and they said, we're going to find the natural geniuses. So we're going to give all the children a test for whether how naturally genius they are. Did the tests, said to the teachers, yeah, we've got the genius kids. These are who they are, gave them the names, and we're going to keep coming back over a couple of years and see whether we were right. Okay, so they kept coming back, and then a couple of years later, sure enough, the children that had been identified as natural geniuses were doing really well. And then they said, by the way, we didn't actually do any tests. We just randomly did like raffle tickets and lottery numbers, or kind of on locker numbers. So we weren't assessing the children at all. We were assessing the teachers, because the children that we said to you are natural geniuses, guess what? You gave them more eye contact. You answered their questions quicker. You said, well done. You said, keep trying. Come and see me at the end of the day and I want to see how you're getting on. And funnily enough, the environment around those children made them geniuses. And again, there's another amazing study with Ken Robinson, I believe, amazing TEDx, that talks about the fact education damages, just completely destroys creativity and natural genius. The study, Professor Rosenthal, Rosenthal, Professor Rosenthal, no, exactly, they couldn't. It's a bit unethical, Alison, exactly. They wouldn't do it now. But yeah, way back in the 60s. So, you know, I think coming back to Catherine, was it? Just throw that away. Just get it away. That is a protector part of you that is saying, like, well, if I'm not creative, I might as well give up. And then I've proved myself right that I can't do this. Okay. It believes it's protecting you, but it isn't. It's keeping you stuck. It's not keeping you safe. So it's just time to shatter all of that. How are we doing? I will share with you quickly strength psychology, and the free thing I've got for you is to go onto my website, because I want to make sure we've got time for questions. It's called Finding Your 5% Genius. So in line with the story I've just told you, I'll explain why I call it that. So, but it's a free guide. If you put in, so my website, should I just put it in the chat? So you've got it. Well, I won't, because it might take me a bit of time, but buildingyourconfidence.com. Just put that in. It's there, buildingyourconfidence.com. What I will put in is the code. The code for the free download is CAT100. Okay. So put in CAT100 on my shop page on my website and you will get a free, thank you. Thank you, whoever's put that in. Thank you. And you will get the free 5% Genius Guide. It's been absolutely game-changing to me, and I'm going to explain to you why. So about 8-9 years ago now, we're going back to, and I went on, I'm based near Wrexham, famous these days. Back then it wasn't so much, but Wrexham University, and it was a course on strength psychology. And the teacher was called Graham, and he said, introduce yourselves and what's brought you here today. So I said, my name's Kat. I've been a relationship therapist for a long time. I wasn't a hypnotherapist at that point. I'm a military wife, and I'm here. What was the code? CAT 100, CAT 100. Somebody can put it in again for me. Thank you, Ashley. And so I said, I'm here because I know that what lies at the root of all of the issues that my clients come to me with, all of these self-sabotaging, self-limiting confidence blocks and phobias and fears and everything, is a feeling of not feeling good enough. So I've come along to strength psychology to find a way that I can, you know, help people to feel enough. And Graham said, yeah, that's great, Kat, but why are you here? These are all you downloading. Thank you. I never know how to stop that pinging. He said, that's great, Kat, but why are you here just for you? And it was one of those questions. I was like, gosh, Graham, I don't know if I'm honest. Like, just moved back from Canada by this point. We've been posted there. The children now are about 4 and 7. Husband away, buying a house, la-di-da. I was like, and then I said, actually, Graham, there is something. So remember what I said to you about when I was 15? I said, I'd love Graham to feel that I could be a good enough speaker. I love making a difference one-to-one, but if I can make a difference one-to-many, like I am right now, that would really matter to me. So Graham said, right, okay, and we went on with the day. Now, strength psychology is about, this represents your goals. So what I asked you at the start about what you would want to sort of do today that you've been talking yourself out of, that would obviously be a goal, what you want, right? Now, whatever that goal is, this section represents skills. This is all about what you can learn. So you can learn skills related to what you want, like public speaking, there's skills, or like networking, or like social media, or all of the things you said, there are skills. But this is what we're going to now fill in today, what you've all just downloaded, the 5% Genius. This represents your strength. This is who you are. And this is what, if I had a magic wand, I would take this into every school in the country, if not the world, and say, why aren't we talking, by the way, about who these kids are? Why aren't we going into those schools when we were all young and saying, Cats, my top 7, by the way, empathy, compassion, creativity, enthusiasm, resilience, flexibility, persuasion. Those are my top 7. And when you know your top 7 on the guide that I've shared with you, it proves, research proven, to increase by 35% confidence, motivation, productivity, relationships. Because if we don't know who we are, how can we bring our best self, right? So this is about who you are. And I'm speaking quickly because you can tell my top strength, by the way, if you haven't noticed, enthusiasm. I absolutely love what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to fix it all in. When you know those top 7 strengths, they're shared by 1 in a billion people, because that's how rare it is to have the same 7 in the same order out of the 24, which is a strength scope, it's called, the test that I was qualified in on that course all those years ago. And it's accredited by the British Psychological Society. And so it is research proven. And so here is your sense of flow. So again, to answer some of those limiting beliefs, you could be in quite a competitive market. There are lots of speakers, there are lots of therapists, right? But my goal is to be the best I can be. I can learn skills to that. But who you have right now is me using my strengths. I'm this kind of speaker. So at the end of that day with Graham, Graham looked at my 7 strengths and basically said, Kat, if that's not the kind of speaker you can be, then I don't know, you don't need anything else. There's on that page are the 7 words of the kind of speaker you can be. And you're seeing it right now. Absolute game changer that I realized, as Graham said, you already have what it takes. Be yourself. And people say that, don't they? But it's like, how do we know what be yourself means? Well, it means these 7 words. And obviously I would do a whole other, hopefully Small Business Britain, I might be able to do it. I do usually a webinar like just on strength psychology, but I just brought it in here. But I do want to go to some questions, I think. I'm going to leave it there in a minute. But I just want to leave you with this, an amazing quotation from Maya Angelou. She would say, success, I could ask you now what success is, right? You might say, well, a certain amount in my business, buying a fancy car, whatever. Okay, that's a version, of success that we think in our society. But what I feel it is, I was saying actually to Emma before I just came on this call, I feel the most successful I have ever felt. And it's got nothing to do with the amount of money that's coming in. That will come. But I don't work anymore because I literally do all of this. I get to do what I care about and I get paid for it. And that is success, because success is doing what you want to do. Right. And that's why, by the way, all those people that are saying, what are you doing this for? Because I want to, because it matters. Right. So doing what I want to do and saying, tough if you don't get it. I don't care. I don't want a real job. Feeling I do it well. I've got the skills to do this. You can educate that. That's easy. We learn in every day. I always say in schools, this goes on forever. If you think you're defined by your 10 GCSEs, by the way, like, oh, no. I've literally said to my daughter, she's doing them next year, they don't matter. Which is not, I shouldn't say that maybe, but it's like they don't matter. The only thing that they matter to is to get you to the A levels. That's it. Anyone that goes on about what you got in your GCSEs needs to have their head read. It's insane. But a lot of my clients, as you can imagine, would go back to being 16 years old. Thank you, Alison. A lot of my clients will go back to these traumatic experiences that have lodged in a belief, 16 years old, out came those GCSE results. I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm stupid. What a load of rubbish. Go back and speak to yourself then, you'd go, don't be daft. You're going to learn for the rest of your life. You're defined at 16 by 10 things on a piece of paper. Anyway, sorry, I digress. And this is who you are. So Maya Angelou said, success is doing what you want to do, feeling you can do it well, but most importantly, being yourself and liking yourself while you do it. That is success. And I believe that's why you're running your business, because you want to make a difference. You're going to learn the skills to do it, but most importantly, you're going to be yourself while you do it. I'm going to leave it there for now.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Kat. There's so much love for you in the chat. I feel that was a session that everybody needed. You've been so wonderful and such a big boost to everyone this morning. So thank you for those.
Well, are there any questions you can see, Emma, that I should particularly go? Maya Angelou, I've just put in, is the poet. I saw that pop in. Who was the poet? Maya Angelou.
Another question was just about the homework task. Was it just the 2 tasks you mentioned, or was there a third one for that one?
Oh yeah, I only mentioned the one. Thank you. The second one of my favorites. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, this one is I didn't finish this one. So it's writing all your negatives, then write the supportive truths. These are just lies. All of the pencil ones, they're just lies. Our mind lets them in, true or false, right or wrong, helpful or unhelpful, it's letting them in. So then you write anything that's positive, like the opposite. Then a few days later, rub out the pencil marks in your journal or in your thing, and then all you've got is positive, 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 positive. All right, that's what I want you to do. Got it? Second one, this is one of my favorites. This gets quite emotional. I've mentioned today a couple of key experiences back in my past. So the first thing, A, would be write a letter to your younger self when they picked up those limited beliefs. Obviously, come and work with me one-to-one if you want help with those moments, but that's not the point. You can write a letter to whatever age you think, even consciously, you needed to hear something positive now. So I would write back to that 15-year-old and go, by the way, you're going to be a professional speaker. She's not correct. Oh my God, right? Second letter, I want you to write, this is the big one. Are you ready? I've gone back to being 15 years old. That's like, how many years is that? 30 years. Don't know. It doesn't matter. Imagine if I took myself 30 years in the future now. So I'm 76 years old. Imagine the letter that my 76-year-old self would write to me now. I want you to write it. I want you to write a letter from your third self in the future to you now. What would you say? You're a successful business owner. You're healthy, you're happy, you're living your best life. And I imagine that future me is sitting by me in the car, by the way, every time I drive somewhere. And my younger selves are in the back. And I have these chats with them and I go, you're doing well. I'm really proud of you. Just keep going. I feel emotional saying it. You've got this. Don't give a damn what everybody else says. You're going to upset people regardless. So you might as well do something you love and upset them for doing something that you care about. Yeah. So has everyone got that? First letter to younger self, second letter from your older self to you now.
Fabulous. I hope that everybody does their homework, because I'm definitely going to do this.
Send them to me on email.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah, lots of people were saying there that they've written a letter to your younger self, but nobody's kind of done maybe the other way around, which I think is such an interesting concept, and it helps you visualize, doesn't it? This is where I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to have done. So love that.
Amazing.
I know we have gone through questions quite a lot as we go. Ashley's popped a note in the Q&A just to say thank you so much, and that he really needed to hear this, and it was the best presentation. So he really wants to just thank you personally, Kat. So I'm just shouting you out there, Ashley. I hope you don't mind.
I will ask a favour, only because if you know of any groups that want a speaker, I want to do this more. I want to blast through my own invisible cages that says, I won't be well known and I won't get loads of speaking gigs. So, that's my favour to ask you. Just tell people if you think I can help. Schools, all of that.
As you were saying, your light is shining bright so that you can support other people. So it's all about supporting and helping. So not a problem. Some people saying they can help you there. So that is,
Yeah, ping me a message. You've got my website, or cat@cat-williams.com is email. But yeah, find me on LinkedIn. I'll just put up here, this is Instagram at BYC Limited. I'm Building Your Confidence Limited. Now, I'd love to hear from you all. Keep in touch. My free newsletter on the website as well, so we can keep in touch.
oh, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for joining. Thank you again for Kat for such an inspirational session. Just a reminder, if you do attend 10 sessions with us in the run-up to Small Business Saturday, we will send you a little present. So do join for those. Hope that you all have a lovely rest of the day and make sure you do your homework. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye, everyone.